What's going on, everyone? So today, the Los Angeles Lakers take on the Chicago Bulls for the first time since Austin Reeves gave Pat Bev the too small. Unfortunately, Pat Bev isn't on the Chicago Bulls anymore because that would have been hilarious to see those two go at it again. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very important, very serious game for the Lakers, right? The Lakers right now are sitting at 15-12 on the season. They right now are only 3 games out of second place. They are right there. They could easily work their way up in the standings by rattling off another couple win streak, right? But in the same breath, they could easily go the other direction. They're only 2 games ahead of being out of the play-in entirely. So the Lakers need to get these wins, and their schedule doesn't get easier to close out this month of December. I mean, by the time Christmas is over, if they lose the Chicago Bulls, they could be under 500. So they have Chicago Bulls, which is the first game of a back-to-back. Tomorrow they play the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then, which both games are on the road, by the way, which the Lakers have been atrocious on the road. But then you follow that up with a Thunder road game, and Thunder have been just great this season. Then you got the Celtics on Christmas Day. Then you have the Hornets, which the Lakers should win. But then you have the Timberwolves and the Pelicans both on the road, and you just beat the Pelicans and absolutely embarrassed them on the in-season tournament. So you know that they're going to want revenge. So this is a real test for the Lakers, especially since January really does ease up for the Lakers. They have a bunch of home games and would be a good opportunity for them to really kind of start creating some separation to really start putting the pedal to the metal to start getting into better seeding. Again, they're right there from the 2 seed. The Western Conference as a whole is just so jam-packed, though. I mean, seriously, like, everybody is like a game to like a game and a half behind each other, and it's going to be a race, right? Like, this is going to be a literal turtle race, right? A tortoise race, where every team, every game is going to come down to being very impactful, very important. Tiebreakers are probably going to have real effect as we move forward. I mean, the Western Conference is just ridiculously stacked. I mean, you can make an argument for like 8 teams to win the NBA championship based on the way that everyone's playing thus far in just the Western Conference alone. That's not even counting anything else, right? So this is very important, very impactful. This is also the first look that the Lakers will have with some of the guys. There's been a lot of just trade speculation, a lot of trade talk around Chicago Bulls. We'll touch on that more here in a moment. But also, Gabe Vincent is expected to be back. He is supposed to play for this game. And that would mean that everybody is healthy, except for Jalen Hood-Schifino. But Jalen Hood-Schifino, would he even play is the question, right? I don't really count that as like a significant injury. All the key guys, all the important guys, all the impactful rotation guys, all should be playing, at least at the time of recording this video. Maybe something happens because it is the first game of a back-to-back, so maybe they sit and rest some guys, but everyone is expected to play. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are the only ones that are questionable, but they're always on that list. They're always on the questionability list. It's just so that way the Lakers can sit them and rest them at any point if they need be. If you want to rest LeBron, fine. Go ahead, rest LeBron, but you got to play AD, especially against Vu. Like, he's going to that dude will look like the Jokic on steroids if he has to go up against Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood. So Anthony Davis is going to have to play this game, and he's going to have to play against the Timberwolves game because, again, you're going up against the Timberwolves who have Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. But it's nice that Gabe Vincent will be back, right, because you have Kobe White, who has just been, the dude is on fire right now and is looking like he may be like their guy to build around based on the way that he's playing, the way that he's performing. If he can continue to play that way, continue to maintain. The Chicago Bulls have been playing much better since the Zach LaVine injury, and they're a team that is a little bit in desperation mode too, right? Chicago, yes, there's a real possibility that they make a trade, but they don't, Chicago wants to be good, right? Chicago wants to be a playoff team. They are looking to trade Zach LaVine. Again, we'll touch on that here in a moment. Let me hold off for a second, but point is that Chicago right now is the 12th seed in the Eastern Conference, but they're only a game out of being in the play-in and surpassing the Atlanta Hawks. They're only, 2 games, or 3 games out of potentially being the 8th seed. So they need this win as much as anybody. It'll be good to have Gabe Vincent kind of be able to be there to match up against Colby White and just the other guards for this team, AO and even DeMar DeRozan. Just to have another point of attack guard, somebody that could be a pest. Don't expect him to be lights out. Don't expect him to be great or anything like that, right? It's his first game back. If he is, great. I'd love that. But also I imagine that he'd be on some level of minute restrictions, things along those lines. But diving into the Lakers and the Bulls, right? Like this is an opportunity to get a real show of multiple guys, right? So Zach LaVine is like the main just headline for the Lakers. All of the reports and everything kind of have the Lakers pegged to land Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine obviously won't be playing in this game, but they also, there are countless reports that the Lakers want DeMar DeRozan, that they want Alex Caruso, that Vu could be an interesting prospect. You have on top of that Andre Drummond, I think would be a nice piece. Get a good look at like Torrey Craig. Maybe he could be a nice little another 3-and-D style wing that you can add to this roster, another veteran that you can bring in on the cheap that maybe you could have added on as a tack on, whether it's for DeMar DeRozan or it's for a Zach LaVine trade, right? Maybe you could, if you can't get Alex Caruso, maybe you get Zach LaVine, Andre Drummond, and Torrey Craig, right? That'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't absolutely, I would be totally fine with that, right? I know a lot of people don't want Zach LaVine. I know there's definitely concerns with Zach LaVine and stuff like that. But, if that's the guy that they end up with, then that's the guy we end up with. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how we feel about it. It matters what the Lakers think and what Rob Pelinka and the organization wants to do. But this is a real good test and almost kind of a bit of a tryout for many of these players, right? And you don't think that they know about it. You don't think Alex Caruso knows, like, hey, the Lakers are interested in trading for me. You don't think DeMar DeRozan, I know DeMar DeRozan has said several times now that he wants to stay with Chicago and he wants a new contract and all that stuff. But, how much of that is just the political answer, right? What is he supposed to say? Chicago's trash, get me out of here, I want to be a Laker. No, he's always been sort of a company man. He's never been a guy that's like throwing his team and his organization under the bus. I mean, even with the Spurs, even when he wanted out with the Spurs, like he wasn't out there just like bad mouthing, saying anything. He was, kept it in house. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But it looks like Chicago's plan is to trade Zach LaVine, see whatever that return is, how do those players fit in with the rest of the Chicago team, and then take it from there, and then decide if they want to trade DeMar or trade Alex Caruso, stuff like that. So, I mean, it may be possible that we may not even have an opportunity to trade for DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso. That's something to keep in mind. But even then, I wouldn't mind trading straight up for some of the other pieces, right? Like, I wouldn't mind going and trading for just like an Andre Drummond. Maybe you trade, a Jackson Hayes and a second-round pick for Andre Drummond. I wouldn't hate something like that. Maybe you even get like a Torrey Craig in the deal or whatever, and add in whomever, right? Christian Wood or whatever. I don't know, and go sign another vet. Maybe they don't trade for LaVine or DeRozan. Maybe they do trade for like a Vu, or maybe they could get a Williams and something like that, right? And get or an AO, and you never know. You never know what could develop, between now and the trade deadline. But this is a good opportunity to get looks at various guys. But touch back on not so much about the trade front, but more about just the play front, right? Like, guys got to step up, right? Again, we need guys outside of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves to play basketball, right? Like, can we get some consistency? Can we get other guys to play big, play and have a successful game, right? We need D'Lo to step up. Rui, this I think would be a good game for Rui to really shine in, all right? Like, we need guys to pick it up. We've been terrible on the road. I get it. But Chicago is a very beatable team. We should be able to beat Chicago. They're playing much better basketball, don't get me wrong. Much better basketball since they got rid of Zach LaVine. And I think that that's a combination of things. Zach LaVine and the head coach are just, they can't stand each other. There's been talks and reports about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, and they kind of having conflicts. The organization. Like, I just think it's one of those things where, like, the bridges are all burnt, and it's like, both sides just need to have that divorce, right? So, but regardless, like this is an impactful game for the Lakers. You got to get these wins against these teams that haven't been very good. And the Lakers have done a good job with that. I know that they lost to the Spurs that other game. Look, like I've said it repeatedly, we're not going to win many, if not any, games without Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis doesn't play, you can almost chalk that up to a loss because we just don't have anybody that can replicate that. Again, there's a reason we're 2-0 without LeBron and we're 0-2 without AD because you can fill in for LeBron for a game. Never going to replace LeBron. LeBron is unbelievable, right? We definitely need LeBron, but for a game against a bad team, you're more than capable of just kind of offsetting the points that he provides, the assists, the rebounds, stuff like that, to where you can win a game. We don't have anybody or even a combination of guys that can make up for what Anthony Davis provides as far as just the scoring output, the rebounding output, the impact on the defensive side, being your main just deterrent at the rim, the defensive impact, all of it. I mean, the Lakers go from being like the worst defensive team in the league to literally middle of the pack just with Anthony Davis. There's something like have like a defensive rating of like 111.7 with AD. And then without AD, they have a defensive rating of like 131.5. I mean, Anthony Davis literally makes up for like 20 points alone just on the defensive side. That's not even counting whatever he scores offensively. And that's my point. That's why he's so impactful. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think, hey, we got to go get this win? Do you think, like, no, like, it's not that big of a deal, but definitely would like to get the win? Do you think that this is kind of like an audition almost in many ways? Again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.